Let's learn today. It's Bridge Made Simple.
All right, the blind date. It's been a while since I've been on blind dates, but I always thought that when you're doing a blind date, low commitment. It has to be a low commitment. Coffee, drinks, not dinner, not let's go together to some tournament in the middle of nowhere and play every single day together. Blind dates are very light. It's a chance for you to sort of just introduce yourselves. Maybe you get along, maybe you don't, but it is not at all permanent. Going back to what we talked about, you must always be respectful. Look, I know it might work out poorly. We've all been on blind dates, or maybe not all of us, but I certainly did a fair share of like blind dates, internet dates, those sorts of things. And the person you meet is not always as they are described to you. That is not an excuse to be rude. It's not an excuse to be angry. It's not an excuse to do anything. You just be respectful. Respectful. Remember that even though you might not have any intention of playing with this person, you play the first board together and partner raises your one no trump to six no trump with some random 10 count. Like, what are you doing? You go down a million and you say, "Oh my God, I have to play 20 boards of this or 24 boards of this." Okay. Well, that's life. You sometimes don't have the best experience, but don't like, if you stand up and say, "Forget it," and leave, well, not only are you not playing with the partner you're there, but none of the other people in the room are going to play with you because you're the jerk who like left in the middle of the game. The directors had to scramble and find like that you might not be allowed back. Remember that like Bridge is a closed community. We are all living together in the same ecosystem. And even like if you're on a blind date and you saw this nice picture of this very handsome gentleman online, and in comes this guy who's 40 years older than they said they were, uh, covered in face tattoos, and like says, "Oh, so nice to meet you." You're like, fine, like get up, walk away as fast as you can. But Bridge isn't like that. This is you're sitting next to people you're going to see next week. You're sitting across from, like the director you're going to see next week. You can't get out of it. It's a better a better analog is not so much a blind date that you found online, but it's like, the family friend that your mom set you up on. So if they show up and you're like, "Oh, this person's sense of style, I can't do it. I can't do it." And you like walk away, you're gonna get an angry phone call from your mom. You're gonna get an angry phone call from the parent, from the girl's parents, from the thing. It's like gonna be a headache. Grin and bear it. You're gonna be fine. You'll get through it. Bridge is always interesting. There's always gonna be some good problems, whether or not your partner creates those for you or not. Um, so just still always, always, always be respectful. Before you do it, don't make plans to play every Tuesday for from here to the end of time. Give yourself a chance to get out, right? Coffee, not, you don't start a relationship by going on a weekend together. You know, you start by having drinks. You start by having maybe a light meal or something. Don't overcommit. Uh, do not make too many agreements. One of my, we're going to talk a lot about KISS, keep it simple. Uh, you're just trying to get a feel for how you play, how you think about bidding. Like, you don't need a full convention card. I can't tell you how many times I fill out like this really long convention card. We spend an hour talking about it. Then we play a session. We're like, maybe it's not going to work out. We've wasted all of this time. Like, get to know each other, talk to each other about not bridge. What do you do? How long have you been playing? What family? All that kind of stuff. Get to know each other, see if you like each other. Don't correct partner's mistakes. If your partner asks you a question, you can answer, uh, but don't say, "Oh, you should have, if you ducked that, we would have beaten it," or "Oh, why didn't you cupid four diamonds?" Give partner a break. Um, we don't know what's happening. We're not at that stage yet where we can be working together to get better. This is like a trial period. We're just seeing how we feel. Partner's going to make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. And we want to basically be making the same amount of mistakes. That's how I always view it. It's like we don't want a partner who's perfect because they're not going to want to play with us. I mean, we're not perfect, and like they should be in the team trials, or they should be doing something better. If they're perfect, they should be playing in national events, not at the club with us. So we want someone who makes roughly the same mistakes that we do, the same type of mistakes, the same caliber of mistakes, and someone who would like to not be making them anymore, but that's not always our option. We want to be improving, but don't correct them the first time you play together. It's a good way of starting off on a bad note.